This is Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast. Your way of tapping into the Force from a galaxy far, far away. Hello there.
Hello, what have we here? Here's where the fun begins.
Count me in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast. Today, we continue our Rebels rewatch with Season 1, Episodes 3 and 4, titled Droids in Distress and Fight or Flight, respectively. Both are written by Kevin Hopps and directed by Stephen G. Lee. Droids in Distress was released on October 13th, 2014, and Fight or Flight, October 20th, 2014. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. We've got a fun show. We're going to talk these couple of fun, loosely, it's not a real intense week for the Rebels stuff. We'll have a lot of weeks like this in the Rebels rewatch. We're gonna return to our trivia like we did last week, but we're gonna add a segment at the end of the show today. Mm-hmm. We're doing Fulcrum Fight Night. The idea there is that we're gonna have 2 protect us, 5 attack us, all Star Wars characters. We get a choice. Joe presented me with a list of 7 Force users to pick from. I presented him with a list of 7 non-Force users to pick from. We'll get to that at the end of the episode. But in the meantime, let's talk some Rebels. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about these couple episodes, man?
Man, it really need a lot of test ramp-ups, needed a lot of comfort, and this is coming in at a perfect time. We got some R2 and 3PO in here.
Gotta love that.
That was just awesome. Rebels is already comfortable enough, but then you throw in R2 and 3PO, and we're there. But then these episodes, kind of in tandem, it was, at least to me, it seemed like a very Ezra and Zeb heavy. It was just very focused on their relationship.
They worked better as a duo than I realized they would. And I put them together because they are a couple of those fun. People point to the first season of Rebels typically and go, that doesn't really matter. We'll get, let's get to the later seasons. That's when stuff starts. I disagree wholeheartedly, man. I love this shit. This is terribly important, especially for the beginning of Ezra's arc. We see the first time he, literally taps into the Force in this episode, reaches out and wields it. We see that for the first time. We see the budding of the familial bond that Ezra is fitting into, because, he's not, after the first 2 episodes, he's not family, but it feels like we are getting there, and he's becoming the little brother, he's becoming the son. It's nice when the kids aren't around. Kanan and Hera have that exchange. It's wonderful, man. I love these episodes, and I found myself just horribly comforted. And I mean that in the best way possible.
It's incredibly easy to watch these. It's too easy. I did, just at the end of 4, it is tough not to go on. But it is also, now having 2 weeks, it is nice to just have a known day that I'll just kind of weekly, or maybe even twice a week.
I'm coming back to Rebels.
Yeah, I might get some more Rebels, but this stuff, to say it's filler or whatever, sure, it might be filler now, but it's crucial character establishing stuff. I don't know, you see Ezra still be a little arrogant or cocky. He's like, I saved your life. Look at me, and you owe me everything. You should be my servant, blah, blah, blah.
Right. A lot of shows that don't have this could stand to gain from having stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? One of my main gripes with The Acolyte was that May doesn't feel like a fully formed character. You know what would make her feel like a fully formed character? An offshoot episode where we follow her doing something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you obviously don't get that in an 8-episode season. We're focused on the big hits. We're going big story beats. That's what you do, and that's how a lot of streaming era television is. And that's why we could stand to gain from returning to this format. It's why The Bad Batch was so fucking good.
Yeah.
This is the format that works. It's a perfect in-betweener. It's not 24-episode seasons, which can be daunting, can be a lot, but it's certainly not 8-episode seasons, which is not nearly enough. This is perfect. That happy medium of 14, 15, 16. I love it.
Just to be able to actually know who the character is. There's at least a show can do really well with 8 episodes if they do phenomenal.
100%.
Maybe you can understand the character well, but if you're given way more episodes to work with, you learn the characters more. You understand their minds. You see them in situations where things don't really matter to see how they're like idle. You kind of see characters idle modes in shows like this, but in other shows, they're always kind of on their game. They have to be reacting to something.
The foot's on the fucking pedal. Yeah, like we're going. And like that's where I think that this show reaps extraordinary benefit. I love what I didn't realize was how much they do to boost Zeb in the first couple episodes. I love Zeb. You know, I'm like Zeb has always kind of been not the other for me, you know, he's just always, I've always prioritized the other characters as my favorites, you know, like they all had something that was a little more appealing. I think part of that was, I feel like the first time I watched this, Zeb almost kind of annoyed me because he's like obviously much older than Ezra. And it's like, why are you beefing with a 15-year-old? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Beats the shit out of him, too. I mean, like...
Knocks the shit out of him. But, like, no, like, and this time around, I actually quite appreciate that. You know, like, and this is my... This will be, I think, my third full watch of Rebels as far as paying attention, not skipping episodes, not just letting it run in the background, watching it. I don't know how many times the show is technically played through for me. You know what I'm saying? But the third time I'll be like paying attention. And I grew to love Zeb a lot more the second watch. But man, he came away easily my favorite of both of these episodes, character wise.
Really? Both? Okay. Yeah, I guess he's definitely the first episode 3 for sure. I gave him both character and performance, and just cool that it's D. Bradley Baker too, you know, for like is that right for
That's
Zeb?
Not true. No, it's Steve Bloom.
Then why am I? Who did it say for D. Bradley Baker? Okay, I thought it was Zeb, and I'm like, because I thought that the voice. I know that guy. I know this guy from a video game, Zeb, and he's like other voices in.
Yeah,
some of the
Steve Bloom. Let's see. He's a very storied voice actor. I mean, like, you'll have a tough time digging through.
Steve Bloom.
Yeah, Blum.
Okay, I'm glad that I finally. Okay, yes, he's in zombies. That's why he's in Nazi zombies in Call of Duty. But anyways, okay, glad I'm not confusing D. Bradley Baker with this guy anymore, because that did throw me a wrench when I saw D. Bradley Baker. I'm like, he can have his voice like this, because then I was really gonna land in the performance there. But no, Zeb. Regardless, though, I guess the human is still speaking. It doesn't matter who their name is. If I messed it up, no, they were still doing a really good job. Like whenever Hera and Kanan, you know, at the end of the episode where they're just like, we need to get these disruptors to this deal to, you know, get the money to get the fuel, blah blah blah. They just need to move it forward. Zeb's the only one to be like, no, we need to destroy these things.
Yeah,
guys.
what are we talking about, guys? You know, like
I guess Sabine, she's very weapons heavy, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Whatever, but I'm surprised that like Hera didn't. I don't know. It kind of just wasn't a thought, and maybe it's just to more go. Well,
it is that whole, you know, the Bad Batch faces similar problems. You know, like we need money. We need to exist, you know, like we can't afford to keep rolling this way. That's the launching off point of that episode is like, well, we're barely staying afloat. We dropped that shipment. We really could have used it. What are we going to do? You know, so like there's that mixed bag, you know. Now, the other thing is that like if T7 disruptors are this dangerous that the Senate has banned them. They are like against the Geneva Accords. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you use it is a war crime. Now that's probably something you should have a little bit of a hold up in terms of moving. You know, so I appreciate that's why and obviously things work a certain way in a children's show. You can only do so much.
That's fair.
We're really pushing Zeb here. It's an important character building episode for Zeb, understanding his backstory, setting up the dichotomy between him and Callus, which I really, really appreciated as well. The fact that Callus wields a bow rifle that has been stolen from the Lasat honor guard, taken off his dead body. Like that
scene was
that's
so
gnarly.
good.
That's a great scene. That's probably my favorite scene of the episode when they face off, and then Ezra ultimately unleashes for the first time. You know,
so many moving parts going on there. Like and it's a fight that has purpose too. It's like we hear like that all of his people are gone. Hera takes Ezra aside and is like, "Hey, can you cut him some slack?" Or no, I guess this is after that happens. So you get the justification after. But I guess it's Callus during the fight that is like, "Yeah, I was there. I gave the order." I guess I
gave the order to use them.
He's talking to him right during the fight. But no, it gave it just all the stakes were there. Zeb and Callus's fight was good, and then just having R2 and 3PO and Sabine having to figure out how to overload the disruptors or whatever, and Ezra doing his thing. It was just, I thought, really well done.
Fun.
Yeah,
so fun.
And so for the third episode, at least just like getting the disruptors, and it was just kind of neat in there. But I really liked episode 4. Like 4 was
that's my favorite of the two.
Oh man, yeah, it was just like so much more comfortable. It's just Zeb, and it's just an Ezra and Zeb episode.
Ezra, yeah.
And they're going on a supply run. Got to get some melee room,
Melu
melee. Oh my god, I this word I will never be able to say.
Melu
run.
Yes.
Run. Melu run. Okay. Maybe.
Yes.
That might get it broken down there.
Like, think about a person named Lou, and you're asking someone else permission if he is allowed to run.
Lou
run. You know?
Oh, now I'll never forget that. That's good.
There
That's
you go.
pretty good.
There you go.
May Lou run. But is there some more to these Melu runs? You know, like I don't know. The end when Hera kind of has it. It's kind of like this like. There's like a thing they have with the I don't know, like a thing between.
I think
them.
It was. You mean between Hera and the Melu runs?
Hera and Kanan in the Melu.
I think it. My money is it was just more on the like they're the ones who have the connection at the beginning of the episode where he's like, you expect them to find Melu runs on Lothal, and she's like. She just kind of looks off. She's like,
"That's fair.
like
so
I think it's just a simple of like, they actually managed to pull it off. Now I've got a fruit that I actually really like. I think it's simple. But I love the second episode, man. I think it is so fucking cute. I think that I love the way that something that I'd forgotten that I'm so glad this will disconnect timeline wise. As far as what we're doing in other places. I forget how often Rebels reminds me of Indiana Jones-esque antics and the way things escalate. A simple task becomes fighting insurmountable odds. We're out on a mission to pick up some groceries. All of a sudden, I've run into circumstances where I have to steal a freighter. I'm freeing prisoners that I didn't know existed until a couple minutes ago. And specifically, I wish I would have made this connection last week, but like the beginning of The Last Crusade and the beginning of Rebels, where the young child steals the stolen goods and then proves himself to the people who he wants to become. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that I think because we deal a lot with the Force-related artifacts and, stuff like that, the temples and everything. I think that'll be something fun to look for. But this one wasn't really in the content of the episode. It was more in the feeling of the episode. The just running for our lives, fighting Imperial power, and how'd we even get here? I don't know, but we're doing it. I'm making it up as I go along is kind of the vibe that they always have. And I think that that's very indie.
I'm glad that I can finally see the connections between indie and things, but yeah, it's definitely there. It's like, I don't know if it's, George, I guess working on them both can.
Yeah, indie was Lucasfilm,
but, But maybe just like the classic hero story, maybe these things are just what feels the best, just like a young person that has that spirit, that doesn't quite know it yet, that doesn't quite know the world, everything, and as they slowly unlock, it just feels. I don't know, a coming of age, and hero at the same time. It's it's what you want. And
oh yeah, and I love you mentioned Ezra feeling like he's the cocky kid and everything. That second episode really does a lot to do that, with him being like lording over Zeb's head the fact that he saved his life at the end of last episode, which is so brotherly. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
That is sibling shit as fuck. And that's what I loved about the second episode, was how much Ezra, Zeb, and Sabine felt like siblings, and Hera and Kanan felt like parents. Whenever Sabine being like the offhanded, brushing them off, she can't be fucked with older sister almost, and then pulling a prank on them by painting their bunk after. Like that's the shit I like right there. And so I wanted to give Sabine some love because I really liked her in the first episode. I ended up going with Tia Sircar for the performance in the first episode.
Okay.
I loved the whole, this could really help me at the Imperial Academy. I love the way that she sounds like she's doing an act, which is really, really funny.
Such an honor. I will remember this day forever and ever.
Yeah, I love Tia Sircar anyway. I think she's absolutely incredible. If you haven't watched the movie The Internship, with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, where they work at Google.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Maybe a long time
You'd
ago.
probably appreciate that revisiting. It's super funny, but she's actually in it. She's one of the coders trying to work at Google, trying to get the internship to get a foot in the door. And she's so funny in it. She's so vulgar and hilarious that it's always funny watching that and going, that is Sabine Wren. That is hilarious. But
I guess if you remove the age restriction from Star Wars, Sabine would probably be pretty vulgar. Like Sabine would be.
That's true. She probably would be.
Would let it rip. I don't know. She likes to speak her mind, and she's very, I don't know, steadfast, and I love how she is. Like, people saying that, like, Sabine and Ezra, like, ever being a thing, it's crazy to me that, like, from the jump, it has always been, like, Sabine shutting it down every single time it comes up. Like, she's like, whatever. Like, she doesn't even want to talk to Ezra, like, most of it. Like, she's just painting, her room, doing her thing.
You ever need some inspiration? Yeah, like, I love that shit, man. I do. It's so funny to, like, what's really cool about it for me is that I think I understand where people's impulses come from there. Like a slow burn romance that's like almost high school sweetheart-esque would be cool. It would be cool. There's no fucking way it's happening at this point with Ezra and Sabine. That's way out the fucking door. But like, they also make it perfectly clear that Sabine is just old enough that she can't view Ezra in a way that she can't think anything but he's cute. Oh, he's a cute little kid. And she's so that's why I'm like, I also had that gut instinct, because you start the show and he's immediately taken by her. The first time he sees Sabine, he's like, whoa, she's beautiful, but like, we're far beyond that at this point. I don't see that ever. There are still people who hold on to that, by the way. Like, even
to live action?
In the wake of like Ahsoka, they're like, like Ahsoka like affirmed it. They were like, yeah, these are siblings.
You think that's a reunion for like a long lost, like, oh my God, I've been missing you for so long romantically, and now
that's part of Ezra's journey, is realizing that that's not what this is. Like that, and that's one of the fun things to watch in this show, is to see how his relationship goes from chasing her in a way to accepting or realizing that that's not what it is. And that's a lot of fun, because I mean, like, obviously we're still in the stages where he's young and he's excited and he's entering a new world. He's going to space for the first time. There's a really pretty girl he's with all the time. She sleeps across the hall. Like, it's a fun time for Ezra. I can't blame him for being like, maybe something could happen here, but like, we know it's not gonna.
It's okay. And nice to kind of, I think this is my, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but just my second true like rewatch of Rebels. I bet I've had it on like in the background, but I've never completed it. That's for sure. More than more than once, and now just knowing like Zeb's complete storyline, like this, it was so much easier to kind of hone in on him these episodes, and then like at the very end of 4, whenever the helm, like Zeb's like, hey, I know you collect these, and they're finally okay, they've made up and everything, and Ezra immediately, he's immediately like, oh, I already have that, but then he realizes quickly enough that he's like,
but I could get Sabine to paint it for me, and yeah, they just really hammer home the sibling thing, man. Like, it's just, it feels really good to watch it through the lens of knowing where all their relationships evolve to, and kind of interesting to see that while Ezra obviously admires Kanan a great deal, and admires Hera, and obviously admires Sabine, the first person he really connects with is Zeb.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, like Kane, like the problem at the beginning of the 3rd episode for Ezra is that them doing all this stuff is preventing him from training to be a Jedi. He's like, that's what I want to do, but that's not what we're doing. So if we can get to that quicker, that'd be cool. So like, it's cool to see him like fitting in, but it's even cooler to watch him connect with Zeb on a certain level in this one, which I think is really, really cool.
Totally destroy that TIE fighter that they had. They
totally destroy.
They totally blew it up for sure. Never gonna be seen again. The only thing I kind of remember is Sabine painting a TIE fighter. I don't actually remember how it comes back, like in the story necessarily.
That'll be before the end of this season.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's
like
good.
it's all season 1, but that does come back around, and it's a lot of fun. That's super fun. I kind of like it. No, it's a great little through line, and the show has a ton of great little through lines, and we got all these. I mean, some of the, like I said, we get Callus in the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
We've obviously seen Vizago a couple times now. Vizago doesn't go anywhere. Vizago's in the show till the end of the fucking series.
Wow.
That's they do a really good job of maintaining the not even supporting cast, but recurring cast, which I think is really, really cool. Vizago's always in the back pocket. I can't remember if Sumar, the gentleman who runs the farm, who they were going to take to Tarkin Town and all that, that's a real motherfucker right there. I liked him. I liked him a lot.
That's where my line came from for the episode, was when Ezra was like, you guys got to jump. And they're like, but we're going too fast. And he goes, so you'd rather stay prisoners? And then they all were just like,
bet.
All right. Yep. No further justification needed. But yeah, he was a real one. Let's see. Dying for the. Oh, that's sad. It's this. He joins the Resistance, I guess, for a little bit. This guy, that's pretty cool. But then the next thing is dying for the rebellion. This is the next section. So I don't know exactly how.
We might get to that at some point in this show. I'm assuming that's not something that extends to a different property. We got a lot to cover in Rebels, man, especially when we deal with such small conflicts as these. My favorite line of the 2nd episode is, "You did all this for fruit?"
Yeah, homie puts his gun down. He had the shot on Ezra, could have killed him. He's like, wait a minute, no way, all of this, and then
for fruit. Yeah, I love that. I love Ezra being like, I guess, like not even really taking a second to think about what they were doing until that moment. Like, and that it obviously this isn't going for a truly deep philosophical message about fighting the Empire, but it reminds me of Nemec and Andor whenever he says, there are things that push the Imperials' lines back every day. There are people who have joined the cause that don't even know they've joined the cause. And Sumar and the other prisoner leaping off the transport, and you're doing all this for fruit. Like, that's fundamentally, yeah, I am doing all this for fruit. Fuck you. I love that idea.
A fruit that cannot be grown here, that it can only be brought in off planet, and only the Empire has it. They're the only ones controlling it. No one in the streets have it. That's all the street vendors. They're like, you can't get that.
Well, the street vendor just sold all of it.
And it's like, well, all of it's going to the Empire. Sorry, bud. You can't get any. So it's like, they're taking everything. So it is like a little. I'd say I mean, maybe they're not going.
Everybody
for it
has their
hardcore,
own.
but...
No, I mean, like I don't think that's the intention behind the episode. But given what we know about Star Wars, I think it's absolutely fair to read it that way. And maybe on some level that is what they're going for. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see stuff like that. I love the 4th episode. I think Fight or Flight catches. This is one of the episodes that catches the most shit as being like useless.
What, dude?
I'm like, bullshit. Have some fun. Let it go. Especially considering shows for kids.
Yeah, and this establishes the Melu Run. Wow, that's Melu Run. This establishes
Commander Melu Run.
The whole lore.
And they're like, you for real, Commander Melu Run?
Yeah,
he's like, oh, shut up, you know.
I don't think they're taking orders from Captain Melu Run
anymore.
Yeah. Man, what a, I don't know, a good a very, very nice Zeb. I guess I never hated him before, but definitely now.
No,
like,
not by any means.
This is like immediately loving him.
And this is something we've gained from both the only other rewatch show we've ever done with Penny Bloom is like the benefit of like watching every episode, paying attention to every episode to the point where we are going to talk about every episode just kind of gives you a different level of insight into every character, you know, and you're paying attention to every little thing. Like, for example, there are a couple shots in the first one that I'm like, God damn, man. Like, first off, the last shot of the first episode with Bail Organa kneeling to put the data disk in R2-D2. One of my favorites. Absolutely love that connection to Leia. Perfect parallel. One of my favorite little moments is whenever they do their fake little scene. You know, they're like, Ezra yells at Chopper and Kanan's like, control your droid, kid. And the droid at the front's like, you got to send him to the back then. And Ezra's like, that's not fair. If he's going to go to the back, those astromechs got to go to the back. And, you know, I can never remember her title.
Okay.
Because she's relatively prevalent. She'll be in a lot of the first couple seasons.
That's right. Oh, man. Cadet? No, that doesn't
Cadet
sound right.
would be Commandant? Minister. I don't know why the fuck I thought Commandant. That's super simple. Minister Tua.
There it is. Okay.
But yeah, she's whenever she's like, they're with me, they can't, you know, like don't send them to the back, and the droid goes, sorry, ma'am, it's Imperial regulation, and he slides his hand across his visor as it lowers, and he says it all cunty. He's like, I love it. I love that.
I
moment.
literally typed it in the box to make sure it was cunty. I needed to have it. I put Imperial regulations. The dude
Imperial regulation, and he's like turning as he says it to be like, fuck you, lady.
Yes.
You know, like I love it. So like those are things that like they'd slip by me if I wasn't intending to talk about it, you know, but that's funny as fuck. I have to bring that up.
That's this droid's little that's this droid's little rebellion.
That's
his
little rebellion.
He got this one.
Granted, he is abiding by Imperial regulation, but
this is fair. He's fighting. He's doing what he can. You know,
that's always been one of my. That's why I like these episodes, man. They're just so fucking. Like, to bring 3PO and R2 in, like, we'll eventually get Leia, we'll eventually get Lando. It's such a nice little through line, you know. One of the things that I absolutely adored about these first 2 episodes was just that I can't emphasize enough how much I loved the familial dynamic. I loved them running their little scam, the Sabine knowing she's going to be able to switch up the code here. Feel bad for Wabo, the guy who's trying to sell the disruptors, even though I probably shouldn't. He's selling disruptors to the Empire. Fuck you. But I mean, like, his whole, you know, like, he's kind of being, I take it that he's also being played a bit, by the Empire.
I guess they do get in, like, it's a whole illegal, like, do they get into where it's coming from and, like, the source of where they're coming from? Is that
I don't remember if they get where they're coming from, but I do recall they tell where they're going, which is that Sabine learned that they were going to take them and manufacture them on Lothal. So, like,
that's right,
taking them away from the Empire is a dub regardless of where they go after, I think was kind of the rationalization they make.
Okay, because I felt like it was this led somewhere. And yeah, R2 was even kind of listening in right there. That's right. Whenever Sabine was just telling him, like, yeah, I overheard they're taking them here, or mass producing them there. Oh, is that is there a factory on Lothal that maybe that's that dude? He has to work there at that factory or something, or is that a later season? And then they...
Well, see, that is later. I can't remember if Sumar is actually involved. I think he might be involved in that.
Felt like, I feel like he is.
Ryder Azadi might be also who you're thinking of, the guy who's voiced by Clancy Brown. He has much more direct impact on that storyline.
Okay.
We have not met him yet, but we will, and he becomes much more important. He's actually in Ahsoka as the governor of
that guy.
Lothal.
Okay, it's that guy that I'm thinking of. So not quite this farmer guy yet. But
I'm like, I just rewatched this show, so I'm like, Sumar must not be that much more frequent. But he feels very familiar, so I'm thinking that maybe I'm just forgetting a couple things. But yeah, no, man, I had a great time. I had a great time with these couple of episodes. It was so much fun. It was so cute. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about them. You know,
I mean, all my favorites have been covered. I guess other than I tried to pick a shot out of the second episode. The only one that I thought it was just cute. Ezra just like hugged some Melly Room. Like, I don't know if it was one, might have been a bunch, I'm not sure, but it was just kind of a moment that he's hugging them, and then they get shot and they explode. It was just a brief moment of nice, but it was...
I like the shot where they're emerging from the horizon, walking towards Kanan and Hera at the end, where they're like hazy. That's a good shot. I like that a lot. There's a really cool shot in the third episode that's just kind of an establishing shot. It's like Lothal at dusk or dawn, one way or the other. It's like purple sky, orange sky. The speeders flying in. It's just pretty. Lothal's a pretty fucking city, man. That's one of my favorite city designs in all of Star Wars. So no, I loved these. It was a lot of fun. But let's do a couple trivia questions. How about it?
All right.
Would you like to do the honors? Would you like to go first?
I guess. It's pretty easy. This was supposed to be for the Acolyte finale. We just went a little overboard, so we couldn't quite do trivia. So, but it was kind of in the wake of Plagueis coming back up. It's not directly related to Plagueis, but when Plagueis is first mentioned in canon, Palpatine and Anakin are sitting in an opera house. And what I want to know is the name of the show that they are watching.
Ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's very hyper specific. I know you can
know what
picture
you're
the
talking like,
scene
and I know
100.
I know it's mentioned. I know they've talked about it. That's why I'm like, it's gonna. I'm afraid I do not know.
Can you maybe a half point if you can tell me the species of who's performing in the show. That's a half point. The name is pretty difficult. If you haven't heard it, then you're probably just not going to get it. But
no, that's the thing, is that I know I have heard it, and that's why I'm like,
okay,
it's just never stuck. I'm afraid I'm going to have. Is it the Ballad of something?
It is a ballet, I guess, but no, ballad is not in the name. No, it's two words. I guess I'll give you that hint.
Okay.
When
I just saw someone talking about it too. Like this was because someone was critiquing it relatively recently about how like there's opportunity to do a lot more with that scene and like what they're watching. That's
what I was just gonna say, because I went back to watch the scene, and it's the first time I ever paid attention to the show, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck are they doing? It's I guess if you don't know the species, if you want to give up on that, I'll give up. Yeah, Mon calamari is the species in there, but they're like suspended water bubbles, and they're like flying. Like there's one big one in the middle, and then there's like little ones outside of it, and they just like fly in between each of them, and it's like this beautiful dance that's going on.
Right.
But the name was Squid Lake, is the name of the
Squid
show.
Lake. Oh, so it's like
So-
Swan. It's like Swan Lake, but they're doing it with squids.
Oh.
That's fucking funny.
Okay, I didn't. I had no idea the reference, so that's
Yeah,
nice to know
yeah.
that it is actually off something real. Then, but yeah, Squid Lake is
I see.
is
Okay,
what it was called.
God. That is
So-
such a George Lucas fucking thing to do.
What's
Squid Lake?
What's it based off of? It was
Swan Lake.
Swan
You've
Lake.
probably heard of the movie starring Natalie Portman called Black Swan.
Oh.
Which is it's about a dancer who wants a role in the show Swan Lake.
I see. Okay, so
And Swan Lake is a much more storied production, but that's my closest relationship to the play, is that I know it from Black Swan. Not much of a theater guy here.
that makes sense. That it usually they are references or things.
That's so
do
fucking
reference
funny.
each other, but yeah.
Squid Lake. Okay, I dig it. I dig it. My question, you'll have to dig a little deep into the old memory bank here.
Okay.
I will accept 2 answers.
Ooh. Okay.
How many Sith have we seen on screen?
Oh shit. Okay.
Now, I will also give you this. I will give you one. I am counting Chimere.
Okay.
I am not counting May and Osha.
Okay. Okay. On
So
screen.
you have one.
Animation
on
counts,
screen.
right?
No video games, but yes to television and movies.
Okay.
Any television and movies.
So we got Chimere for sure. Obviously,
And I should say also canon, like
I can't.
Visions is a
Revan
whole
or
other thing.
fucking-
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Like on screen, canon, television, and movies. The Sith Lords we have seen there.
Okay. Well, we just got.
And there's a
Plagueis,
reason I will accept
guess.
2.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I will. We'll get to that.
Okay. So I know Plagueis. We got Chimere. Those are the most recent ones. Palpatine, Vader, Maul, Dooku. Does Asajj? She's an apprentice. Is she ever is it a Sith in the Sith Lord?
This is why I will accept 2 different answers. If you want to count Asajj, if you want to count apprentices.
Yes. Okay. Asajj and then Savage Opress.
Also no Inquisitors. That's important.
Okay. That would throw the number.
That
up,
would throw a
and
lot
and
of
I
shit,
wouldn't know
yeah.
how many there are. So okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh. Balin? No, not Sith.
Balin?
Not Sith. Not Balin.
Oh, I see.
Like
I see.
Orn,
Balin Skull or
yeah, Balin and Shiv.
I'm not. I didn't
No,
count
I
them
wouldn't
because
either.
they're not Sith. Okay,
I wouldn't
okay,
either.
Cool.
But Marok.
Inquisitor.
Okay, then there we go. I'm struggling to come up with another one after 8. Snoke? Is that another reason why you accept more than? Oh,
That is not.
that's
but I-
Palpatine.
That's okay. I will accept Snoke. That was not the other one I had in mind, though.
okay. So I still would be missing one then.
Mm-hmm.
Is it obvious? Am I gonna be like what?
No,
Okay.
no, it is
Okay.
not obvious. This is the one I expected you would forget about.
Damn it.
I will give you that.
For a little bit. Barriss went. She had. Is it Barriss? No, I mean.
I didn't count. I
Not-
don't count her as a Sith.
Not
No.
Sith. I don't know if I'm ever really gonna get there. That's gonna be tough. It's probably it's probably animation, if I had to guess. Let's see, Bad Batch. Am I missing anyone in the Bad Batch? Cad Bane, not Sith. Inquisitor. I don't know if I'm gonna get there. Yeah, I think I might have
Alright.
to concede. I'm gonna have to concede
All
on
right.
that on the last.
Well,
one.
I will say, I didn't originally count Snoke, so you technically got to the number I was thinking,
Okay,
which was the question: was how many?
that's true.
I
I guess I got to 9. Was that what I got to?
You got to 9, which was what I originally had listed.
Okay, but who
The
did I
other one
miss?
appears very briefly in the Clone Wars when Yoda goes to learn how to become a Force ghost. Darth Bane manifests as a spirit of sorts.
I had
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I had no idea we've seen Dark. I would have never. Yeah, there's no way I would have gotten
That was the one I expect. That was the one I was like, this will throw you. I was like that. I was like, if you count Asajj
Wow.
and Savage, that was why I was like, I would have accepted 7 and I would have accepted 9
for apprentices or no.
Yeah, for
Okay.
apprentices or not. As far as, and that's as far as I can recall. If anyone out there is like, it's actually this. Sorry, I forgot Snoke, and
I feel like Bane has to be the least. If there's not one below, there can't be one below Bane. That has to be.
That's got like.
So.
I was like, I considered the sun. I wouldn't call that the Sith. That's the embodiment of darkness, which isn't Sith power strictly. So like, that's why I was like, I ran through options, but I found myself settled with the options I had.
Okay.
So
I like that. I like how I had to think about through every movie and just kind of every show. That was fun.
Yeah, that was going to be my question as well for the Acolyte finale, kind of tying in the Chimere Plagueis. Yeah.
New players on the board, new Siths entering in.
Yes, indeed.
But
yeah, all right. Then let's do Fulcrum Fight Night to cap off the episode.
Oh yes.
Would you? We'll cap it off with the Force users. I feel like that one will be a little bit more a little bit more fun. In the meantime, the rules. The idea is that one of us. Do you want to collaborate to settle on the best 2?
Ooh.
Or do we each pick 2 and argue our case?
Ooh, I didn't even think about the actual decision of. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I said we collaborate. I said
that could be fun.
we are at stake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We need to save our lives.
We need to save our lives. We have 2 people that are going to protect us. 2 beings that are going to protect us. 5 others are going to attack us. And this, remove biases for what their personas would typically be like. Okay. Darksiders and Lightsiders will work alongside. Imperials and Rebels will work alongside each other in the effort to murder us. That is their goal. We need to select 2 people who will protect us from their wrath. So, the non-Force using options are Captain Phasma from the sequel trilogy, Chewbacca, Crosshair, Fennec Shand, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Din Djarin, and Saw Gerrera.
Okay. This is
So
a good
of
list.
those 7, what 2 would you like protecting us in the event that we, for some reason, have pissed the entire galaxy off, except for 2 people?
Okay. The only one that isn't firepower really behind them, I guess maybe Saw Gerrera a little bit too, but Thrawn, it's really just his intelligence that we're worried about. He's got. Do we want him planning the plot to destroy us, or do we want him planning our protection? If
he's planning our protection, only one other person has to execute on it. However, if he's planning our demise, he's got 4 cohorts who can carry it out.
It's honestly really bad if he's coming to kill us. Like it's not a good thing. If he's got a lot to work with. I feel he's made it very clear that he can work with a little. He doesn't have to have a lot. If we give him, so I guess. Who would be his best bet? Who would be the best protector to bring along with Thrawn if we want to Thrawn on our, maybe it's not set in stone yet. But.
I would say, because the thing is that Thrawn and Saw are kind of antitheses to each other for this purpose. I feel like Saw and Thrawn are both very capable in a fight. You know, they are both very capable at beating your ass if they need to.
Mm-hmm.
However, Saw is much better with the guerrilla warfare, unexpected attacks. Thrawn is much better with the, you know, like, we're gonna get at you. You know, we're coming. Let's do this thing. I think we're better off if they are both a part of the 5.
If they are together, they will cripple.
They could cancel each other out a little bit.
That's a fun possibility. I guess, you know, biggest firepower on here to me feels like Din Djarin or
and
Fennec Shand. Yeah,
I'm like, if we have them protecting us, it's a tough battle.
That was at least my initial gut, was just all firepower.
Crosshair's dangerous.
Crosshair
I'm like, the thing
out...
that we cannot have, I think no matter what, we need Fennec Shand. Because Crosshair and Fennec Shand cannot be on the same team. For some reason, I find that their capabilities will just fuck us up if they are both coming at us. You know?
Fennec likes to get up close and personal.
She's also got the sniper on her, though.
That's fair. They both do have the sniper angle. They will be competing. Maybe that's risky. Yeah, you don't want...
You don't want both of them on the other side, you know? Like, that's why I'm like, I think you need one or the other.
Okay, this is actually more difficult than I thought.
Yeah.
This is...
The easy one, I think, to swear off, sadly, is Chewbacca. He doesn't stand a chance in a hand-to-hand fight against any of these people besides maybe Saw or Thrawn. He's just too big, too slow. You know, and when you're facing Din or Fennec, you're fucked, you know?
Now, if we were in an octagon and no weapons allowed, I'm taking Chewbacca.
Different story.
Yeah,
different story.
Where everyone's got their kits here, you know? So, okay, wow. Fennec and Din, that's at least one potential I see. Thrawn and someone is actually just kind of hard to see. Like, if you give... Like, if it's Thrawn and Din, like Thrawn and Din or Thrawn and Fennec, the two strongest we've given, it's like, that still doesn't really feel right.
I'd prefer Din and Fennec over either of those options. You know?
So I feel like Thrawn is out. Okay, so...
I genuinely feel, I think Din and Fennec are actually, that's probably the choice. Because Crosshair, while we've seen that he is quite capable in hand-to-hand combat, his strong suit is definitely the sniping, obviously. It's his whole fucking thing. Which could be a problem, but with the Beskar armor, you know, you kind of cancel that out. Now Fennec's at risk there, but she is more than capable of taking down 3 of these people on her own.
That's true. We can say Fennec. Dude, yeah, if we have Fennec and Din, we're good. Like, actually, we're good, because Fennec could be sent out on one mission to kill Phasma and Crosshair in one. That could be like a...
Phasma's tough, but even so...
I guess infiltrating... Like, if Phasma's in her normal day-to-day, you'd have to infiltrate a whole thing. But if it's... You think just like a... You think Fennec versus Phasma is like a... That's fair?
I think it'd be a decent fight. I think Fennec would wash her, but ultimately, like, when you add someone else into the mix, I do think it gets a little tougher. You know, I think Phasma's a little bit of a wild card here. I wouldn't want her protecting me alongside any of the, like, you haven't played Battlefront 2, like the new Battlefront 2 much, if at all.
No, I have not.
I fuck with Phasma on Battlefront 2. It's tough. It's tough because she's got this little droid she sets up, and if you come within a certain radius, it like shocks you and freezes you. And whenever that happens, you just fucking mow them down. Like, that is how you use Phasma.
I see.
And that's tough to beat. You know, now obviously on screen we haven't seen her use that droid or anything.
I feel like we could. This is a conversation in which we take video games into account. I feel like here maybe it's allowed.
I agree.
All the abilities and such. But yeah, this. So if we have Din and Fennec, though, yes, Thrawn and Saw Gerrera are on the opposing team, but I don't know. That is still worrisome. Like, they could cancel each other out. They could just come up with an even better
But they could
plan.
benefit each other, yeah. If they're meeting in the field to take us the fuck down, it could be a problem.
If we're under the assumption that everyone is working together, what have we done, for one? What have we done to earn so much?
All of this, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, whoever our two people are, they're ride or die for whatever the fuck we did. But I feel we've at least said Finnick and Den the most. Is there any other duo that we haven't said that makes sense?
I'm of the mind it essentially has to be one of them, and I think the best complement to either of them is the other. I think that Den and Fennec is our ultimate answer. I think they're the most versatile fighters we have on the board. I think that we stand the best chance with them against these people. I think Phasma and Crosshair pose the biggest concern on the other side as far as the actual capability of taking us down. They're dealing with a lot, like the odds are we don't make it out of any of these anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like these two just give us the best chance. And I think I'm confident with them the most.
Okay.
That's important, like we're really good chance we don't end up making it out of that anyway.
We are, the odds are against us to begin with. So yeah, it is. I don't know. It's classic Star Wars story. The odds have to be stacked against us. But with Finnick and Den,
I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty good about it.
They know what they're doing.
So we ultimately settle on Din Djarin and Fennec Shand protecting us from Saw Gerrera, Admiral Thrawn, Captain Phasma, Crosshair, and Chewbacca. All right, that's the non-Force user one. What do you got on the Force user side of things?
All right. So I did them evil and then good first. I just kind of wanted some dark and then some light, a good mix of them. I gave a little more light than dark, but first will be Count Dooku. Had to get my boy in here, and then I also had to get Chimere in here. Some new blood, and then the last Sith will be Darth Maul. So we have Dooku, Chimere, and Maul, and then for the light side we have Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka Tano, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Yoda.
Ooh,
so
man.
Some pretty. I mean, I wanted at least to start with really, really big hitters, so that if we do this again next week, they're off the board. We got to go. We got to go.
We got to dig a little deep.
Some cool, really cool Force users there. So we got some big people. So at least biggest firepower. I mean, Yoda's on the board.
Yoda is on the board, and that's big. That is big. You got the quickness. You got the agility, but I'd prefer Ahsoka for both. I think that Yoda's obviously got the power in the Force a little differently, but we've all got power in the Force here. That's not it's not exactly an advantage. You might be a little bit stronger in the light, sure. I think I would prefer Ahsoka as a fighter to Yoda, generally speaking.
Because
gut. No, go ahead.
I was thinking Yoda v Dooku. Yoda wins. Yoda came out of that on top. Yoda came in after Anakin and Obi-Wan got their butts whooped versus Dooku, and then Yoda came in and was like, "All right, let me teach y'all. Let me remind you."
Went toe to toe with Palpatine for a while there. Like that's pretty nice.
But
Ahsoka's defeated Maul,
and this is true. And take the fight in the World Between Worlds. I don't know. That's Prime Anakin. No one's really stood up against Prime. I don't know. It's a vision.
Obi-Wan.
So, but true. I mean that's I had to get my boy, my favorite boy. I had to get him here.
In there.
I mean, as a protector, that's what Obi-Wan has.
Hard to beat Obi-Wan. Yeah.
That is him.
Imagine a world where we got Obi-Wan and Maul teaming up once to protect us.
Oh, would it actually feel good? Oh my God!
I think it might.
I
think it might.
Obi-Wan and Maul knows how to fight, dude. And if they could actually work together now, oh, dude, this is a beautiful world. This might be the answer. Because I was thinking maybe Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, just the two at Mortis. They were at Mortis with Anakin, or whatever. They're some, I don't know, maybe somehow.
I think the blend here you want is a light cider and a dark cider. I don't think you want both of either, because I think that
Chimere, though, we're talking High Republic, though. I don't know. Is Chimere even like on a different level compared to Dooku?
My gut actually initially took me to Chimere and Ahsoka. I think that them as a duo would be fucking gnarly. I think that would be fucking cold.
The purified crystals versus the Sith. Okay, this is nice.
That'd be nuts.
This
That'd go
is
nuts.
Okay, Chimere.
The thing,
I didn't think about Chimere.
What's crazy is that, you know, you can't discount Dooku, though. He's like the all-time GOAT swordsman. That's like his thing.
Fighting is his jam.
As far as the Sith you've presented, he's the only one who's used Force lightning as well, which is pretty powerful. That's nothing to fuck with.
We would need Yoda to defend against it. Like, he's the only one that actually knows how to defend against it, right?
That's
like,
true.
Everyone else just blocks it with their
Does that
saber.
mean that Yoda and Dooku, Master and Padawan, is our best answer?
Oh, shit. So I went from Chimere and Ahsoka. Now we're at... Okay, there's a lot of cool duos that actually can be made here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But...
You could have the poeticness of Obi-Wan and Maul, which could be very, very cool. I like to imagine Maul doing that thing that Cal Kestis can do in the video game where he lights up both ends of the saber, throws it in a circle, and it rotates all the way around him. I think that's kind of an OP move in a situation like this.
Oh man, that I love the world of imagining. We're just like,
it's action figures. We're playing with action figures,
and just Maul and Obi-Wan just on either side of us, finally fighting together. I mean, who do you want not to come against us the most? Who is the most scary?
And that's what gets tough with the Force user side of things. All of them, you know, like, the thing is obviously you don't want the Sith to come up against you. That's why when it comes to the Force users, it's tough to remove their morals. You know, like, I have a tough time believing we've done something that Obi-Wan wants to kill us. You know what I'm saying? Or Yoda wants to kill us. But even so, I'm going to roll with it like they do. I genuinely think like Maul and Chimere.
Chimere has taken out multiple High Republic Jedi as well. He was cutting through them like butter. And he wasn't...
We've seen him do the 1v10, you know?
Honestly, I feel like Chimere might be the scariest out of all of them, and we don't even know his full potential. We know Maul and Dooku's full potential, full storylines. We know how they die. This guy could still be on the rise, and I guess maybe that's where it's unclear. Maybe that, I don't know, but at least what we do know about him, it is pretty scary. But if we have Chimere on our team, just to have him so we're not against him,
right?
Who's the good counterpart?
Who's the best complement? Yeah. That might be a scenario. I mean,
I guess we said Ahsoka for the...
Ahsoka would be cool, but I like to consider what fighting styles and stuff would complement each other. And, you know, I considered Dooku, who's got the more, you know, fencing, slow, deliberate sort of fighting style, side by side with Chimere, who's like vulgar and there's nothing that can... I don't think those actually work particularly well side by side. I think you need another fast person side by side with Chimere. I think that your best bet is taking the fight to them, which I think brings us down to Maul, Ahsoka, or Yoda.
Ooh. Maul, Ahsoka, Yoda. That's tough to pick between those three. Yoda... What age Yoda I guess it doesn't really matter when he's in fight mode. He feels like he kind of just enters.
Yeah, I'm like when we saw him when he was 900 and he was flipping around and shit. I can't imagine it got much better than that. You know what I'm saying? If it ever did, goddamn.
Like
he was faster than the speed of fucking light.
I guess we got Ahsoka v Maul. That fight is incredible, and both of them very, very fast. Ahsoka just has maybe just they're pretty equal, but Ahsoka can literally just have 2 separate sabers, and against more people, that's probably just better.
That is better. That is better.
I feel like if it's between
We've got both the dual wielding. That we got 4 sabers protecting us. That is a nice. I think Chimera and Ahsoka. I'm glad it ended up coming back around
That's true.
My gut.
Chimera and Ahsoka does feel nice because Chimera could have more in the bag that we don't know about. He puts on that helmet, dude's locked in. Dude's just locking in.
We get 4. I mean, the Cortosis helmet. That's important.
That is huge.
You should have
actually.
it on your side.
We need Chimera.
You gotta. I think Chimera and Ahsoka's kind of the move, man.
Dang.
Because I think Chimera. This is crazy because I think Dooku's fucking nuts with it. Chimera. I mean, I've seen no evidence that would show me that Chimera would not wash the floor with any of these people in a one-on-one. Now, obviously, when it comes to like light side versus dark side, I always end up being like, well, I don't know, maybe the light will prevail, But it's just from that perspective, like I'm like, I think the answer is either Yoda or Ahsoka, and having a similar fighting style. I tend to lean towards Ahsoka with the double blades there.
It helps.
You do have Yoda who can stop the Force lightning though, which is big. That's no joke.
Can Yoda? Is it just dark in nature to you? Like it you have to practice it over a long period of time. So like Yoda can't just use it, but he doesn't want to. It's not like if he was in kill mode and he was trying to kill us, he would, use it as well.
I tend to think that he could. I think it's more a power thing and what you're willing to tap into than it is a training thing, at least in modern canon. They've obviously, Rey kind of threw a wrench into things as far as what we understood about that capability. Now, obviously, she's a descendant of Palpatine, so, like, the dark side is in her blood, like, it's a whole different thing. But I tend to look at a lot of dark side capabilities as if you can get there, you can get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you can refine it with training, but I think if Yoda wanted to unleash some fucking Force lightning, he could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Yoda's not one to scout. Like, he is against us here. Like, I mean, Chimera and Ahsoka got a fight ahead.
Yoda frightens me against either of them. That's like he's literally my only holdup against Chimera.
And so, would you have the fear if it was Chimera and Yoda? Do you have that same fear with like Yoda and Ahsoka?
I do not have that. Then my next biggest concern becomes Maul.
The quickness. Yeah, I guess Yoda.
Yoda's got the quickness though. He'd be flipping around and shit. Like that's nothing to fuck with. So I've landed on. It's funny that Chimera ends up being like, him. But like Chimera and Ahsoka, or Chimera and Yoda. I think that those are my most. Those are the ones I'm most confident in.
A Cortosis helmet kind of makes Chimera OP in the situation as well. Just being able to disable lightsabers, that's pretty huge. And then maybe just Ahsoka seemed right. Like for fighting and everything, but maybe the experience is just too goddamn good. I don't know. It's he's just got.
I like Chimera and Yoda here. I think that's a good choice, a good combo there. And the Cortosis is really what's putting Chimera over the top for me here. Didn't think I was going to land on Chimera and Yoda, but that fucks.
Honestly, I wanted to put Chimera in here to have him come fight it. Like I thought that he would eventually be attacking us, and we'd have to defend against him. I should have thought about the Cortosis. Like that just does kind of make him a little.
Like you gotta have him on your side if he has that. Like that's.
Well, at least that's
the man.
Now. We don't have to deal with that anymore. Cortosis is out.
That is the other rule, guys. For if we will return to this segment, it might not be next week. It may be next week. I don't know. Kind of just a recurring segment here, Fulcrum Fight Night. Now that we have picked these 14 characters, they're off the fucking board. We can never return to these 14 characters. Now, Force users, there will probably come a point whenever we need to go ahead and recycle them. But we're going to go through as many as we can before we reach that point. It's just a much more limited number than then I think with that, we've got Chimera and Yoda defending us against Dooku, Maul, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan,
and Ezra.
And Ezra. Oh man, Ezra didn't even come up.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Ezra. Yeah. I was just really high on Rebels. I wanted someone from the from the crew. It was either Kanan or Ezra.
Ezra would be gnarly too. However, when you put him against those 6, it is kind of an easy choice.
And maybe he's got more room to grow. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I mean, like what we see in Ahsoka, where he's fighting without the saber, like that's fucking cool. That's really cool shit. You know,
could be entering his prime now. You know, we'll see
yeah.
some new Ezra stuff. So maybe in a couple years, we'll come back.
Ezra
to
and
this
Maul.
And that would have been sick.
That'd be pretty fucking cool. But no, even so, I still need Chimera. I still need Chimera with me. You know, like that's Chimera and Yoda defending us against those 5. I'm confident in that. But yeah, then with that, we will conclude this episode of Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast, and we'll be back next week with episode 5 of season 1. We're going one solo episode next week, so that means we will certainly have a segment for you, whether it is Fulcrum Fight Night, I don't know. We're going to try to brainstorm, come up with some more stuff, have a little bit more fun, you know, not lock us into a strict format. We'll definitely still have trivia for you, and I cannot wait. So next week, I believe, is episode 5 titled Rise of the Old Masters, which is why I singled it out. That's fucking cool. That's it's a cool episode and a pretty significant episode lore-wise, if I recall correctly. I believe we get to see the Inquisitors in action for the first time, which is going to be exciting. I believe they tease us with Luminara or something like that. So it'll be fun. I'm excited. But
okay, getting the juice. All right.
Getting the juice next week, episode 5. But in the meantime, follow on Twitter at the Fulcrum Pod. That is where we take listener questions. We didn't have one this week. We didn't have one last week. If you would like to ask us any questions, that is where we take them. Twitter at the Fulcrum Pod. Follow there. We're currently doing the Penny Bloom podcast over on the Penny Bloom podcast. Just look that up right now. I believe this week was the penultimate episode of season 2 of House of the Dragon, and next week will be the finale of House of the Dragon. So we're covering that on Penny Bloom. We've got Cinema Surprise going right now. Last Friday was La Chimera, and this next Friday will be
Passion of Joan.
The Passion of Joan of Arc. Just to give you a feel for all the shit we do. House of the Dragon, Fight or Flight, episode 4 of Rebels, and the 1928 silent film, The Passion of Joan of Arc, this Friday, also on the Penny Bloom podcast.
Yes.
So you got a lot to look forward to. We'll be back next week, like I said, episode 5, and whatever fun stuff else we might be doing. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, for light and life.